Hello and welcome to episode 5. It's been a while. I'm going to teach you about the Activator script. And you can find the Activator script in the Assets Intruder Mapmaker scripts folder. It has a bunch of things we can do in game, so let me teach you about it. So I'm going to make a cube here, and I'm going to apply the Activator script. I have it open in the inspector. I just click and drag onto the inspector from the scripts folder onto the inspector tab. Basically, if you click your use key on it in game, or if you shoot it, explode it, or set the explosion distance, or the direct explosion trigger, it'll activate whatever you set it to activate in the enable or disable list. The explosion trigger distance basically says what distance the explosion has to be in order for it to activate. The HP will set how much health this thing has before it activates. For example, it has to take a set amount of damage before it triggers. If you set it trigger by enter or trigger by ragdoll enter, you have to do a couple things before it works in that way. You have to disable the mesh renderer, and then you have to enable is trigger, and you have to have one of these two ticked, or both of them ticked, and it will trigger by having someone enter it as a walking character or as a ragdolled character. So I'm going to resize this trigger zone to about this big. I have to make sure it's making contact with the ground just so I can walk into it. I'm going to make 3 new game objects, and then I'm going to duplicate them and have them to be enabled, and then have 3 more set to disable. So here is my cube. I'm going to rename it. So I've it named Activate Area. I'm going to have these 3 cubes enabled, and then these 3 disabled. And then I'll just specify that in this list. Or, alternatively, I can just have an empty game object, put these 3 in that, and then now I can also do it that way. So I can shorten the list. Instead of having two lists of 3, I can shorten them to 2 lists of 1. So I have both my game object lists. I'll name this one activate cubes and deactivate cubes. Naming them doesn't do anything. It's just the putting them in the list that does it. So let's play the scene. Is because you need to have it trigger by enter or trigger by ragdoll enter. So if I enter as a ragdoll, if I just press K on my keyboard while in game, you go into ragdoll mode. And if you enter this zone in that mode, it'll activate. Or you can have it just by walking in. So make sure you have this enabled if you're going to use this trigger method. But it should work now, so let's play again. So I'll join the guards. Now these ones are going to disappear, the ones on this side, and then some other cubes will reappear here. There we go. You can also have it enable random objects, and you can specify the number of which. You can set the time of delay for when you walk in for things to activate or deactivate. You can disable this by default, and it would activate much like a series of buttons. You would have to have something enable it, and then walking into the area would activate the other things. So it'd be like a chain reaction of conditions. If condition 1, condition 2, and then it activates. You can have it enable after time, you can have it be redone. Redo time is basically a cooldown. So a button, you press it, and then a cooldown, you would have to enable can redo and redo time. If it's 0, then it would be no cooldown. Enabled after time means this area enables itself, and then the condition activates the thing. So let's say this cube is invisible and anyone's walking through, and then after a certain amount of time the cube appears, and then the next person to walk in activates it. Activate after time, it will activate whatever you set up in the area here. After a certain amount of time it'll activate itself instead of waiting for someone to walk in. Activator team specifies which team can activate it. Setting that as a goal will end the round. And then the goal message. The goal winner is if whoever walks into this will win points for their team. So you can specify guards or intruders. Local message is the message for anyone who walks in. Global message will be for everyone in the lobby. And then for teleportation, I'll show you how to set that up. So to set up a teleport, what you want to do is first I'll deactivate these. I'll make an empty game object. I'll name it teleport spot 1. So just TP spot 1. I'll give it an icon. Then we set the teleport locations to 1. Then we click and drag TP spot 1. And then we test it and it'll teleport me. So these cubes over here, they don't have anything to do with the activator now, but if I walk in, I'm on top of the building now. And then if you put possible teleport destinations, it'll randomly pick between each one. So if I set another teleport location, I'll set this one to the outside of the building on the right side. And then I'll set another one on the left side. And I'll change the colors on them. And in the activate area, I'll need to specify 2 other locations. So it'll be a total of 3. TP spot 3 will go in element 2. TP spot 2 will go in element 1. So I set 3 possible teleport destinations. I want to enable redo. Can redo. And then I set the redo timer to 0 so I can just keep using it over and over. Join the guards. Now if I walk in, it should teleport me to one of the 3 possible teleport locations. So it teleported me to the top, to the left side, and now to the right side. So it picked the top one, then it picked the top one again. So it's at random, it seems. And that's pretty much it. For the animation stuff, the animation stuff goes with activate activators, and these activate the activators is kind of confusing, but I'll explain it in the next video, because they have to do with animations and all this other stuff over here. So I'll see you then.